so much. Trump has talked about sending out $2,000 checks to U.S. citizens. Earlier this year, he also talked about sending a Doge dividend. That didn't materialize. Should U.S. Citizens expect a $2,000 proposal? Is the White House committed to making that happen?
The White House is committed to making that happen, yes. And we are currently exploring all legal options to get that done. I don't have a timeline for you or any further details, but I can confirm for you that the president made it clear he wants to make it happen. And so his team of economic advisors are looking into it. And when we have an update, we'll provide one.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the star of our show, direct from the bar,
PB.
What's going on out there, peeps? I'm going to show you something really interesting about gold and silver. Obviously, as you guys know, silver and gold have continued to climb over and over and over. As usual, when the silver and gold price dropped, people panic, and I said, don't panic. We see this all the time. It's just a market correction. Just hang tight. Gold and silver always recovers. Did it recover? Let's find out. Before we get started, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I certainly do appreciate it. Let's take a look at crypto real quick. Bitcoin is at $101,629 a token. Ethereum's at $3,406. XRP is at $2.40. Solana is at $153.74. Doge is at 17 cents. Cardano is at 55 cents. Chainlink's at $15.31. XLM Stellar Lumen is at 28 cents. Looky here, gold is at $4,198.60 per ounce. Unbelievable. Look how gold has continued to run, especially since right here in 2022. It's been on uphill climb ever since. Silver is at $53.25. Same thing, ever since 2022, July, it has been running straight up, looking good. $53.25 an ounce. I got to thinking about something, so I looked it up. The value of the Iraqi Dinar against the US dollar in 2004 varied. Iraq's official exchange rate for the new Iraqi Dinar, which is the ones that we have now, that was introduced in October of 2003, was approximately $1 US was equivalent to 1,470 IQDs. Therefore, to buy 1 million Iraqi dinars from a currency exchange back in 2004, it would have cost you approximately $710 US, depending on the exact exchange rate and the margin applied by the currency exchange. $710 to buy 1 million Iraqi dinars. Now, the same time when this happens, silver at that time was $5.10 an ounce. That's crazy. So back there in October of 2003, silver was $5.10 an ounce. Gold was $385.50 an ounce. Jeez, look how cheap those prices are. Anyways, so think about it this way. The $710 that it would have cost you to buy 1 million Iraqi dinars, you could have bought 139.21 ounces of silver or 1.84 ounces of gold. If you look at where we are today and you took that 139.21 ounces of silver times today's rate of $53.25, it would now be worth $7,412.93. Your gold times today's rate would be worth $7,725.42. Your 1 million Iraqi dinars using today's exchange rate would be approximately $763.35. That's not including the fees that they take from you to do the currency exchange. So it doesn't look like he gained very much when it comes to the Iraqi dinar since that 2003 moment. I know a lot of people continue to buy more and more Iraqi dinar. You should probably consider investing it in the gold and silver. So think about what was just spoke about at the press conference. Trump is going to give everybody $2,000, and at least that's the rumor. Well, what do you think is going to happen with the $2,000? You're going to see the price of gold and silver go up. It does. Every time we got a stimulus check, we saw that happen in gold and silver. So I expect it to happen the same all over again when people get the money. Of course, not everybody is going to spend the whole $2,000 on gold and silver, but you're going to see a strong enough group of people invest in the gold and silver that the price will change, and you'll see it affect gold and silver. It'll go up. Chris Marcus over here at Arcadia Economics. I love listening to Mark's videos. I will put a link down to his YouTube channel. Go check him out. Silver surges back over $50 as silver gets drained from China. China and India are running a shortage on silver is what was being reported, especially China right now. First was London, I believe, then it was India, and then now China. So they're just swapping silver between each other, trying to stay afloat. But they don't have enough silver to meet their demands, okay? We keep running a deficit in silver for our needs here in the United States. Do you understand the importance of holding on to silver? I can't stress this enough, how you should invest your money into more silver. I understand where the price is, but if you think it's going to stop here, you're sadly mistaken. Let's listen in a little bit on what Chris is talking about as far as the silver market is concerned.
Chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors, part of the Fed board. He's the one who's advocating for 2 rate cuts at a time, where he talks about the overvalued dollar, and we'll get into the evidence that seems like he's doing more than just talking about it. So we're seeing these metals rally even in the face of a dollar rally, which makes you wonder what happens if the dollar continues to roll over again.
Yeah. Chris, I'm curious, could you pull up a copper chart?
I sure can.
And the reason I ask is, as you're well aware, speaking of the Trump administration, they just brought silver onto the critical minerals list.
Yes,
and I was thinking, if they evoke Section 232, like they had threatened to do with copper. If they did that for silver, where you're basically threatening a tariff, we saw what that did to copper prices going back to the early summer. You saw that surge to spiking to what, $6 a pound. And so, that's where, I think this is a bit of a game changer here, with silver being added to the critical minerals list. And again, if Section 232 is invoked and tariffs are brought into the metal, we could just, we could see that 75 a lot sooner than May.
It would be wild. And I hear we're getting closer to an end of the government shutdown. Incredible in the midst of all this. They can't even, what does that say about the dollar there? They can't even keep the thing running. People are out of work, and still the politics dominates is what it is. Although, speaking of critical minerals and politics, your Trump meeting with Central Asian leaders to boost critical mineral ties. So, like you pointed out, was added to the draft list back in August, made official last week. You're seeing these policies unfold, and I believe, here we go, breaking. Then last week, China tightens its grip on silver, posing stringent conditions on the export of 3 critical minerals: tungsten, antimony, and silver. So it's like all these things that, and Sean, I don't know if you were drinking before breakfast with that, like the Chris was right tour. I don't know if we're going to go that route yet. It's a lot of these things that...
Chris, it's the I told you so tour.
Yeah, I told you so. Well, in either case, a lot of these things that you, Vince, and others we've been talking about here, I get it. When the price was $20, $25, nobody wanted to hear it, but we're seeing these things happen. So point that out. And Sean, here's the other thing that's quite intriguing, because I mentioned we had silver shortage in London, blew out the spread. We saw some silver go over there, about 50 million ounces in total. Some went from London, some went from China. Although if the free float is 150 million ounces, the daily turnover is 250 million ounces. Seems like 50 million would leave a little bit short. And it's not just me who thinks that. Here's Robert Gottlieb, the former JP Morgan Precious Metals Managing Director. He went on Kitco saying we need 100 to 150 million ounces. We're not there. And in the midst of that, we saw some of the silver had left from China. Like thinking, okay, you need silver in India, you need silver in London. If it's coming from China, and here was a report a couple weeks back, 150 to 150 tons were 100 to 150 tons were on their way out of China. And then all of a sudden, here's the combined China silver inventories from the Shanghai Gold Exchange and the Shanghai Futures Exchange. Obviously, you can see since 2021, it's fallen quite a bit, had stabilized, and then in the last month, we see dip down to 1453 tons. So we just saw, now not all of they said 100 to 150 tons went over to London, maybe a little more since then, but it's like you had the problems pop up in these other locations. Now to fill that, you have it coming from here. And then, as you astutely pointed out, at the same time, it's being listed as a critical mineral. Trump's going around trying to make friends on that. China's saying we're not going to play ball on that. So it's like you have $50 silver, but not, well, it's all getting resolved like many perhaps thought a week or two ago. Instead, we'll put it poetically, it seems like a bigger clusterfuck than even before.
It's almost like they're playing whack-a-mole. They keep shifting the silver to where it is the lowest. Plus, whenever a lot of times we see sell-offs, we see them dumping a lot of the paper gold and silver, not the actual physical. There's not enough physical gold out there to cover a lot of these orders. So what's that tell you about holding on to gold and silver? It's going to go up in value. And like they mentioned earlier, the value of the dollar definitely has gone down big time. That's why you see gold and silver prices go up. They hold on to the purchasing power. So when the dollar is devaluing, gold and silver go up. So the devalued dollar plus the worldwide shortage on silver, plus the demands are not being met, this is a great time to invest in silver. That's why I say don't worry about what the price is. Just keep stacking. That's the best suggestion I can make to people. It's going to continue to go up. Last year, I remember saying that gold was going to hit $3,500 an ounce. And I missed my target. Now look where gold is. And look at silver. I remember bragging about getting to $35 an ounce. Now it's over $53 an ounce.
And I think, again, going back to, the debt at 37 trillion and the deficits running at 2 trillion a year, there's no solutions to the reasons, that we're seeing the metals do what they're doing. And until we get solutions, until we can balance the budget, I'm still very focused. And
see, what he's trying to say is this. It's crazy how gold and silver are reacting the way they are. In order to revalue both gold and silver, we have to figure out where we stand with our budget. And then take a look at our debt and then revalue gold and silver. So you still have that whole event to look forward to. Anyways, like I was saying, I will leave a link to Arcadia Economics. Go check out Chris over there. He has a lot of great videos on gold and silver. Anyways, let me know what you think. Can you imagine, had you invested in the gold and silver back in 2003 instead of the Iraqi Dinar, where you'd be right now? And that's just over $710. Some of you guys spent way more than that. Anyways, that's it for now. I look forward to hearing from you. I'm out.